Claire Pearsall is a former Conservative government advisor joining me. Just first of all, do you think that Kemi Badenoch is going to be good at PMQs? Do you think she's going to be lively? Because she's been pretty good performer in the Commons so far, hasn't she?
Yeah, she is pretty lively at the dispatch box and nothing really phases her, so she is going to be good and bring the fight to Keir Starmer. Yeah, I mean, it's not difficult, is it?
We do need to have proper opposition. To be fair, Rishi Sunak did a very good job answering the budget. He knows his stuff. You know, he's an ex-chancellor himself.
When we needed it most?
Yeah,
too late.
But yeah, very, very fair point. That's certainly true. Let's go live to the Commons right now. We're about to hear from Kemi Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker, can I thank the Prime Minister for his almost warm welcome, and can I also echo the comments that he has made? It is an immense privilege and the honour of my life to lead the Conservative Party, and I look forward to joining him at the Cenotaph this Remembrance Sunday. As leader of His Majesty's opposition, I will be taking a different approach to the last opposition by being a constructive opposition. And so I would like to start by congratulating President-elect Trump on his impressive victory this morning. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary met him in September. Did the Foreign Secretary take that opportunity to apologise for making derogatory and scatological references, including, and I quote, "Trump is not only a woman-hating, neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath, he is also a profound threat to the international order"? And if he did not apologise, will the Prime Minister do so now on his behalf?
Mr. Speaker, there will be many issues on which the Leader of the Opposition and I disagree, but there will be issues that do unite this House on national security and Ukraine, and I do look forward to working closely with her on that, and I will provide her with the information that she needs to discharge her duties. That's the right thing for the country, and it's far more important than party politics. And the Foreign Secretary and I did meet President-elect Trump just a few weeks ago for dinner for about a couple of hours, and we discussed a number of issues of global significance. It was a very constructive exercise.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister did not distance himself from the remarks made by the Foreign Secretary, and I'm very sure that President Trump will soon be calling to thank him for sending all of those North London Labour activists to campaign for his opponent. Given that most of his cabinet signed a motion to ban President Trump from addressing Parliament, will the Prime Minister show that he and his government can be more than student politicians by asking the Speaker to extend? Can they show that they can be more than student politicians?
Order. Mr. Perkins, I don't need to anymore. Your voice curries, it's like mine, too loud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the Prime Minister show that he and his government can be more than student politicians by asking you, Mr. Speaker, to extend an invitation to President Trump to address Parliament on his next visit?
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition is giving a masterclass on student politics. Seriously, Mr. Speaker, we live in probably a more volatile world than we've lived in for many decades. It is absolutely crucial that we have a strong relationship, that strong special relationship forged in difficult circumstances between the US and the UK. We will continue to work, as we have done in the 4 months in government, on issues of security, our economy and global conflict.
Mr. Speaker, he does not answer the questions, just read the lines the officials have prepared for him. It doesn't sound like he wants to invite President-elect Trump to Parliament. He needs to look after the special relationship. The US is our single biggest trade partner. Given the risk of increased tariffs on UK exports, which threaten our manufacturing sector, will the Prime Minister commit now to continue the negotiations on our free trade agreement with the US, which the Biden administration cancelled when they came into office?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, of course we will discuss issues of our economy with the President-elect, as we already have done. Economy, security and global conflict are issues of real significance that ought to unite this House. But when it comes to the economy, what we've done with our budget is to fix the foundations after 14 years ago. Return to economic stability of the £23 million black hole. We've protected the pay slips of working people. We've done the single biggest investment in our country for a generation, in the NHS, in schools and homes. We've given a pay rise to the 3 million lowest paid. If she's opposed to that investment or the pay rise for working people, she's a straight talker as I understand it, perhaps she should say so.
Mr. Speaker, discuss, chat. He has no plans whatsoever. No plans whatsoever for building on the special relationship. He needs to realise that we in this country rely on our single biggest trade partner. President Trump is also right to argue that Europe needs to increase its defence spending. The last Conservative government committed to raising defence spending to 2.5% by 2030. Will the Prime Minister finally match this commitment?
Mr. Speaker, there is no more important duty than keeping the people of this country safe. And it was the Labour government that signed the NATO treaty in the first place, and we are strong supporters. We have a strategic defence review. We are committed to 2.5%. Well, I would remind the last time 2.5 was met was under the last Labour government. 14 years, and they never did it once. Last year, the NAO identified a £17 billion black hole in the MOD finances. The former Defence Secretary said the previous government hollowed out the armed forces, and the plan they put forward at the election was pure fantasy.
Mr. Speaker, he will not make that commitment. That is very clear. All that he is doing...
I'm going to hear the questions. If the people who don't want to hear it, they can leave now. Come on.
Mr. Speaker, he will not make that commitment, and yet the world is getting more dangerous. His Chancellor's budget did not even mention defence. The Chancellor's budget last week was a copy and paste of Bidenomics. It turns out that a high spending, high borrowing, high inflation approach is less popular than she may have thought. May I suggest he now urge her to change course, or is he determined to be a one-term leader?
The one thing I learned as Leader of the Opposition is a good idea to listen to what the government is actually saying. I think she just said that defence wasn't mentioned in the budget. It was 7 days ago that it was absolutely clear and central to the budget, as was economic growth. We are fixing the foundations. We're giving a pay rise to millions of people. We're picking up the mess that they left, 22 billion. And a tax rise and a pay rise for working people. And I haven't heard yet her welcome that pay rise for the 3 million lowest paid workers. Does she now welcome it? Does she stick to her previous policy that it's excessive?
Right, well, that was Kemi Badenoch's full 6 questions there, and I have to say, we don't normally take PMQs live because, frankly, it's not normally very good to watch or listen, and we'd rather just give you the highlights. Those were all highlights, all 6 of those questions. Claire Pearsall, a former Conservative government advisor, listening to that, she was on fire. Now, I said, I wasn't very impressed with her when she went on Laura Kunzberg last week, her first interview, big broadcast interview. It was frankly, a bit stroppy, something she's been accused of before. I've tackled her on that, on air as well. But, I mean, she went over, defence spending, on the budget, free trade agreement, accusing the government of, student politics, made the obvious attack. I mean, it'd be crazy if she hadn't gone with this about, David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, and his past comments about Donald Trump, and has he apologised to the team. She went in all guns blazing, very confident. I thought that was absolutely a 10 out of 10 performance.
Stunningly good. I really didn't know quite what to expect because she can come across as very stroppy. But this was really good. She is just prodding ever so gently at all of these issues. Just keep prodding, and you can see that over the weeks and months that will bear fruit. It really will, because Keir Starmer is not happy about that.
He's very
didn't want to answer about it.
He looked like a very irritated middle manager.
He did.
being questioned. You know, he didn't like it. He doesn't like. He really gets. He doesn't. He's very stroppy. So he doesn't like getting questioned about anything.
He gets very tetchy, doesn't he?
Very tetchy, doesn't he? And it's very interesting. I'd love to know what you thought of that. Do get in touch. 0344 499 1000. That's the number to call. You can text as well. 87222. Get in touch on X at Talk TV. I have to say this bit: calls are charged at the national rate. Text costs one standard network rate message. But of course, the message we're actually mostly wanting to hear from you today is what you make of the Donald Trump victory in the US presidential election. What's your reaction? Particularly also, what do you think this means for Britain? Now, Claire, just from what we heard there from Kemi Badenoch, what can it mean for Britain? Well, it might well mean a trip to Britain. One of the things she suggested was that the Speaker of the House of Commons should invite, well, there should be an invite to Donald Trump to come to Britain. Obviously, it would be crazy not to invite the American President to here, but also the Speaker to invite him to address both Houses of Parliament, something that didn't happen before. I mean, that would be very interesting. Don't see it happening on Starmer's watch, but it's the sort of thing that Donald Trump would like.
Well, I think it should happen. It absolutely should. We've had Barack Obama has come and spoken. We have had President Zelensky come and speak. We have had Aung San Suu Kyi come and speak. Why not? The president of the free world. He is now going to be...
Whether you like it or not.
Absolutely. He is going to be re-elected for a second time, should all the results go to plan, as they look like they're going to. He absolutely needs to come
just to get everyone up to date, I mean, we are looking, you know, so much talk in recent months about these 7 battleground states, the Rust Belt, and of course the Sun Belt as well. But so much focus on the Rust Belt, particularly on Pennsylvania. That was, you know, that was the key state. And all of these states, they tend to, they fall as one. They go as dominoes. If one goes, they're very much on a swing. If one goes to the Democrats, they will go. If one goes to the Republicans, they will go. Donald Trump has won, we believe now, projections, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina and Wisconsin. That actually takes him over the 270 vote mark in the Electoral College, which would mean that he has taken not just the White House. It looks very likely when he's got the Senate. It looks like they're going to actually have, I think, possibly 55 senators, but also it looks like the House of Representatives as well. Bearing in mind also a Conservative majority, 6-3 on the 9-strong Supreme Court. I mean, I don't think we've had a president certainly in my sort of adult lifetime who would have that amount of power. Now, whether or not he keeps that after the midterm elections in 2 years' time is another thing. But we know, first 100 days, hey, Starmer, you should have thought this. He wants to get stuff done. We know also the moment a president gets into power, and they all do this, executive orders are signed on day one. What do you expect Donald Trump to do on day one, come, was it January the 20th?
I think he's going to look very long and hard at his own cases against him. I mean, I think this is a worry. I mean, it's all very exciting at the moment, the criminal charges. I think to have somebody who is in charge of the House, the Senate, the judiciary, absolutely everything, I think is actually quite frightening for any country. I'm not a great fan of one person.
The founding fathers deliberately had those competing parts of government to prevent anyone having too much power.
Yeah.
But then do we not think, again, this is with the American people, and I think the British people feel the same way. You know, we want someone who, whether you like or disagree with or agree with Donald Trump, someone who's actually going to get something done. And actually this sort of stalemate, and we saw this in 2019 in the UK, that stalemate in Parliament. It was like, okay, there's one vote you can give, which was going to get Brexit done and move on from that stalemate from 2016 onwards, and people voted accordingly.
But I think you also need to have checks and balances in place. It's all, yes, we all want to have something done, and we want a Prime Minister, a President to get things done and get things moving. But they also have to be held to account. And if it's only your own people talking to you, that doesn't happen.
No,